Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. That's Trev, and that's Stoner. Trev, you got a question already?
My intro video didn't even play at all.
Oh, really? No, I saw it. I saw it on this end.
Interesting. Already having some confusion in the start of the show. You know it's going to be a good one when there's that.
That was weird. Like it didn't even play. Like the little blue bar popped up on the bottom like it was loading up, and then all of a sudden, greetings and salutations. I'm like,
here we are.
Trev's sitting there for 20 seconds just staring at the screen for no reason.
Might be what it is. We'll have to go back and check.
Well, regardless of whether or not it played for our visual learners and watchers and everything here on YouTube, because we are live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at 7:30, and then we go on your favorite audio platforms. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're at. We've got a good show here, 117. Two guests, actually. Rio from Rambling with Rio will be joining us for a mock draft in the cool down. And then Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network will be joining us during the game to just talk prospects and see where we think maybe they'll go, get the skinny on some of the names that maybe we're not as familiar with, or maybe that Joey Porter Jr. that Trev is so in love with, just maybe not the right fit for the Commanders, as we've heard from a few other people as well. That's all going to be with Ryan during the game. And originally we were going to talk about workouts. Nothing really happened in the workouts, just to kind of nice to see the guys back at it.
This is there.
Instead, here during the warm-up that's brought to you by Don't Sleep Energy, use the code REF the District and get yourself 10% off on your entire order at don'tsleepenergy.com. Great team out there, and Don't Sleep, and they're not sleeping on all of this this sales news that's going on. Obviously, we had a kind of a celebratory show on Thursday. Thanks for everyone who tuned into that, and all of our guests. A lot of good content creator friends that we had on that show. But Trev wasn't a part of that show. So, of course, we need to get his thoughts on the sale process. And then also, there's a lot of craziness that happened within the last 24 hours with this $7 billion bid. And we'll get into that. But first, Trev, the deal looks like it's going to happen. Yeah. Dan Snyder is going to go bye-bye. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited. I'm not going to celebrate until they say papers have been signed or the deal has been done, but it's very positive. It's moving in the right direction, kind of faster than what I thought it would, considering like a few weeks ago, it was like, this could go on until who knows how long. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, preliminary first step has been completed. The bid has been submitted. Come be quiet. Sorry, it's my cat. The bid has been submitted. And now, things are looking great, and if it has to approve, and then if it has to be like corrected, send back for corrections and sign and send back this and that. So I'm excited. It's actually happening. It's not just smoke. It's not just rumors. There are still rumors out there, but the rumor about the sale happening and being accepted or submitted is true. And that's a very, very good sign. So I'm excited, just not ready to pop champagne yet.
I think that's a fair sentiment, and that's kind of where we ended up at. There's a lot of excitement on Thursday because the news had just dropped, but we did have several people kind of reminding us, like, hey, tone it down a little bit. Like this is one, it's an ownership change. I think that was the biggest sentiment that we heard on Thursday was like, that is a huge, that gets away that dark cloud that's been over this franchise forever. But one of the things that it doesn't change. It doesn't change on the field, right? Ron Rivera is still the head coach. The players are still the players. We got EB, and that part is exciting. And so there are some things that to be excited about. And it's like I said, it's good that the black cloud is going to be lifted, but don't get ahead of ourselves. So,
I think something that was interesting that Ron said a while back when in regards to the Chase Young 5th-year option, is when he said, well, that's going to be something that the new owner is going to have to decide. Didn't you think that was kind of weird that he said that? I mean, they got to decide in like 2 weeks.
In May. Yeah, just here in the next couple of weeks.
I don't think the new owner is going to have, and of course I complained about it. I don't want the new owner to have any idea or any say in the matter of whether or not Chase Young gets a 5th-year option. Can he handle the money? Can he handle paying out the cash, which of course these billionaires can, but
was he foreshadowing that the deal could possibly be done by the time that decision comes around and they will make that decision?
Well, there's certainly not going to be a finalization through the owners and all that other stuff by the time.
Yeah, because that won't happen until May at the earliest. So late May, sorry.
That's just coach speak, I guess, then, huh?
Yeah,
just one of those Ron things.
Oh, he does. He just likes to get the media to just leave him alone, and he's just going to say whatever he can say to move on to the next question, and hopefully be done with his time in front of the media. But I just found that really peculiar that he would say that the next owner is going to decide that.
Yeah, so
that didn't make any sense.
Nah.
Yeah. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes with the new ownership and who's in, who's out, who might possibly still be lurking around the corner. It's fun. It's exhausting, but it's fun to keep up.
I'm definitely done with it.
Yeah,
you're done with it. Oh, I'm not. I love it. I don't try to be that guy who's like who tries to say, well, this guy can't do it because of this rule, or he's. Some of the things they were talking about, like with the Brian Davis deal, and Brian Davis, well, he's going around and talking to everybody, the media, and he said the rules are that he signed an NDA. If he was a legit bid, he has to sign an NDA. People can say that until you show it to me somewhere that says in the official rule book of the NFL, when you are trying to buy a team. Here's the rule.
Well, AJ Perez said that, so it's probably true.
I don't think he said that specifically.
I think he commented on somebody else saying it, but AJ did kind of kick it off where he was just like, no, actually, I think AJ definitely did, right? Trav, you pulled that one up there because that one is kind of interesting. I'm going to give a shout out to our people in the chat. And yes, Michael, we do have EP and the black cloud is lifted over Ref the District. EB helping lift the cloud over here in the DC area. Trout agrees with you, Trav. The sales stuff hasn't hit me yet, but it for sure will when the ink is on the paper. And I definitely think that fans will find a way to celebrate together. We got Michael in there as well. Doug in the chat. Tommy T, wow, joining us tonight. We appreciate you. Yam is in the morning. Yeah, AJ Perez tweeted this out. Real bidders are under confidentiality agreements, but Brian Davis is making the media rounds now. And
but he's
with a gif of that's a bold strategy.
He's saying that. Okay. He's not saying per NFL rules.
Okay. So I guess he has to say that for it to be legit.
Well, of course, unless he says per source or unless he says by NFL rules. But for somebody to just say something,
I think in this regard that it's the way that these business transactions usually work. That's typically how it goes. So we've trusted AJ throughout the whole process. Sure. I'm not going to throw him out the window now because he didn't say per NFL guidance and all this kind of stuff. And we are going to get into this Brian Davis thing because that's been really the largest noise around here. And I agree with Michael. This whole situation around Brian Davis just seems rather bizarre. Brian Davis's offer is $7 billion. So $1 billion on top of the accepted offer. Was offering to do the indemnification and just throwing all this extra stuff there. And that just didn't seem right. And so a lot of people were going through, and this is where Davis went out and started doing some of the things. And we're going to share some of the clips that we have from his time with the Junkies this Wednesday morning here, and that Stoner has diligently put together. So some kind of crazy things there to kind of follow here when it comes to this. I have to bring up my notes that are in an entirely different page than where I had saved. So give me a second here.
Yeah, let me just say this about Brian Davis. I think the biggest thing that people are trying to figure out is where the money is coming from. Mm-hmm. How does Brian Davis, out of nowhere, become one of the richest men on earth? Where did that come from?
Top 20 with $50 billion. Yep.
Where did that come from? You know who the richest people in the world are because they buy the biggest companies and they have the biggest names. You may not know who Josh Harris is until you hear he's trying to buy the team. And then you look at it and say, oh yeah, he owns the Sixers. He owns the Devils. He owned an EPL team, English Premier, EPL team for a little while. Go. So you know who billionaires are. You don't just pop out of nowhere. And so one of the things the junkies asked him today is they asked him if he really legitimately does have the money. And this is what he said.
$1 billion in my holding company through my business. That's a fact. Whether you believe it or not, it's up to you. Okay. But I don't want to, it's the NFL's job to make that decision. I don't want people to issue statements about me having Saudi money or any of these things that are not accurate.
So he's saying he's got $20 billion and it's not Saudi money and it's up to the NFL to decide if he legitimately does have that money. Who's to say until proven otherwise, who's to say he doesn't, Trev? How can you or me, and I know it's not really plausible, but how can we say that he does not?
We can't.
He just said, I have $20 billion.
I mean, unless he's delusional, and like, I mean,
not out of the realm of possibility there.
We can't say that he doesn't because why would you just come out of nowhere and say that you have that when you really don't? That's something of this magnitude. But some people are like that. But hey, we actually legally or whatever, reality wise, cannot say that we know that he doesn't have it or not because, like you said, he came out of nowhere. He could be a billionaire in hiding. You never know that.
And he says that he has the money. This is, although he is actually bringing in he is bringing in people. He's bringing in investors.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy. When it comes to trying to get this team, it's just him. He's not bringing in. He's not like a silent partner. He doesn't have a bunch of silent partners. They gave him all the money and leaving all the decisions to him. So when they vet him, it's only him. And it's not, he doesn't, they have to vet like 20 guys for the Josh Harris deal, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like Josh Harris, Rails, and then 17, I think, small business people so there's 19 people in total. Yeah. That's what I think the number comes out.
Exactly. And they have to vet every single one of them who's going to have a piece of that. But he's saying they only have to vet me because I have all the money. I don't have any partners. I don't know where. He said he got money from other people, but he's the guy. He's the, what do you call that? The intellectual property.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. A lot of this money came from was he sold his intellectual property, these ideas behind cities that no one's running. There's no information there. There is some more to this. It's Eric Flack had tweeted out on March 27th, days after putting in a $7 billion bid to buy the Washington Commanders. Davis and his company Urban Echo were sued for failing to repay $322,000 in loans from a DC man. Davis says Urban Echo is the source of his wealth. He has yet to respond to the summons, according to Eric Flack in this tweet. So the Urban Echo, this company that he sold this intellectual property to kind of boost up his money, it's got to come from somewhere. So it's just like it's a very interesting thing. And you're right, the NFL's got to vet this. If he's putting a legitimate offer, the Bank of America is going to vet this. It seems like the process is already moving forward with Harris and that deal. So I don't think we're being slowed down by this Davis deal at all, which is nice, right? We can potentially go into the May, owners meeting with some resolution happening there. But this Davis one is kind of interesting.
It is, and I think it's also interesting something that he said at the end of the interview. He said the Bank of America is waiting on one thing from him, and it's called a POF, which is like something about his proof of funds. That's what it is.
There you go, Stoner.
Thank you very much. I'm all over this thing.
It's that military background, just knowing all the acronyms. All the acronyms.
That's why he's enjoying this ride, because he's learning a bunch of stuff. And,
it's true. It's true. But he said he's going to get that in today. And within the next
you have
2
the
days,
clip for this, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I do. You ready?
Yep.
As I said, is waiting for this final item from me, which I'll get out to them today. But I would say over the next couple of days, they should be in a position to say that I have the capital and that my offer is being reviewed upon the initial review, just like the other gentleman.
Yeah. So he's saying within the next couple of days. So let's hold him to that, because he said it. Within the next couple of days, the NFL and Bank of America are going to vet him and his money and decide whether or not his offer is legit. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Like, it's just weird. Like, the Rails Harris Magic Johnson partnership sounds like professional, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, nobody is questioning them. Where'd you get the money from? Like, how come it's only this much? No one's questioned that. But with this guy, it's like, all right, who are you? Your company is where you get your money from, but you're being sued because you owe $300,000 to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it just sounds like it's very murky and complicated. With somebody.
He has a complicated history as well.
Saying,
so,
like,
and he has former players, calling him out, saying that they owe him money. He obviously had the failed real estate deal when the market crashed in 2008. So
remember, he tried to buy the Memphis Grizzlies. Him and Leitner tried to buy them.
Was it
only $250 million?
Minnesota, I thought.
No, it was Memphis. Minnesota is where they played, where Brian Davis and Christian Leitner played. But he tried to buy Memphis for $250 million. And he couldn't because his finances fell through.
When was that?
It was a good 10 plus years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. Well, I mean, I guess it was close to. It was like 2015, 2016 time frame.
Oh, okay. So it was about
7 years. He got up to $7 billion he can spend on a football team cash.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he won a couple of those lotteries. We're gonna let all that process play out there. Joshua, this is the thing: is Davis is saying his money is not coming from the Middle East. This is he's
it's all domestic.
Yep,
all Americans. And he had a funny line. I didn't clip it up, but he had a funny line. He said all his money's coming from white people. He said, he said it. I'm just repeating what he said. He said,
we don't need get his ass out of the running right now.
Jews, Italians, and Sicilians.
Get him out of here. He's in it for the wrong. This is not that kind of business, dog. This is football.
Well, now he's saying again, I listened to every bit of that a couple of times. He's saying that he's doing it because he wants to give back to this community. He grew up here.
All right, well, get back by doing some fundraising stuff. We don't need you to own a football team.
And how about this, Trev? He said he's not going back into DC. Mm-hmm. He's gonna renovate FedEx. He's gonna put a translucent roof on it. He's gonna make it a year-round thing. He's gonna bring.
We got the clip for that too.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting I have.
Yeah,
did
he say
I did all this work for these clips, and I'm trying to make sure he uses these.
I appreciate you.
Stadium is to keep the stadium restored at a translucent, retractable roof to give it a 12-month life cycle, and then we want to develop a smart city in and around the stadium where we create a river walk and a man-made beach, and we create a destination.
So he's saying all the things about he wants to keep it there. He doesn't want to, because he said the huge investment was in Prince George's County, where he's from, and he doesn't want to then turn around and put it in DC to where people who didn't invest in this team want to actually put it. It's back in DC. he wants to keep it in Prince George's County where the people who invested in it. So that's another thing about he wants to keep giving back to Prince George's County.
In other ways without buying the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, you can, but that's one good way to do it. You put all those.
That's a good way to keep making money, is what it is. The part that interests me, there's the fake beach and river walk.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. Remember Bruce Allen's early drawings
with the moat
going around it and everything. Lazy River. I love all of that.
I don't see that one, but I think some of those things are great to be saying, right? Like giving back. This is what we want. This is one of the big reasons why we like the Harris Group is because of the fact that they have a local guy attached to it. They have this kind of brand you think that's going to change the image and potentially get us back into DC. I personally love the FedEx location, but that's just because it's also 30 minutes down the road. So, but I would absolutely go into DC again if it gets put there.
Why don't he be an investor if his deal doesn't get accepted? Why don't he just hop on the Harris Trail and work with them?
Why? Their group's already done. They're already done, locked, solid. They're all good.
If his deal's serious, he can always potentially buy out some of those minor owners, which probably are going to be bought out in the first place as well over the next few years by Josh Harris and everything. Did want to touch on that one as far as the Harris Group is concerned. JP Finley had tweeted out earlier this morning how Coach Gibbs was reportedly a part of the Harris Group. John Keim and others rained on that parade. Joe Gibbs has been advising Harris, but is not going to be a part of the ownership group.
We'll take it.
That's according to a source for John Keim too.
Source, yeah.
That's what JP
said. It's a source battle.
Yeah, it's a source battle.
I also love our fan base and our beat reporters and everything about the Washington when something new comes to town, because we start paying attention and finding different things, like when Michael Reyes and Josh Harris were Michael Rales and Josh Harris were at the Sixers game the other night, game 2 or game 1, sitting beside each other at the game. It's like, and Nikki J was like, oh, maybe they might know each other.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to speculate.
Looking at other sporting events, like, oh, there's Josh Harris and Michael Rales. I wonder if Magic's there too. It's like, but they're at a Sixers game. They're not at a Wizards game. It'd be different if they were at a Wizards game. But
I think the biggest red flag for me, and I listened to it, and he sounded legit. He didn't convince me that he has the money, because it was all just a whole bunch of business mumbo jumbo that didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make sense to anybody.
Just saying big words to sound cool.
Yeah. He's talking about elevating. Okay. Just a whole bunch of stuff. But the biggest red flag for me was he says he was the first bidder on March 24th. And his bid was $7 billion, all cash. And if that's the case, Dan Snyder would have signed that day.
Amen.
And got rid of the team that day. Not a few weeks later, maybe a couple weeks later, come back and take something for $1 billion less.
Yep.
And it's not even all cash, and it's something that they're going to have to actually pay him over the course of another 2 years to get his extra $500 million.
Yeah.
So that's the part that kind of makes me sit there and say, there's something wrong with your finances.
Because as much
as you put in a bid for $7 billion all cash, Dan would have been like that.
That's what I'm saying. Because as much as a snake is that Dan the snake or whatever I'm trying to say, he's about his money, and he would not have passed up $7 billion in cash if that was a legit offer on March 24th. Exactly. Right. So.
Yeah. And now he's still okay. So then Harris comes in with his $6.05 billion bid, and it's going through all this process. And Brian Davis, who was the very first one, he's just now kind of getting his paperwork complete for Bank of America.
Nah, dog.
Why is it taking you a month to get?
That's what happens when you got straight cash, homie.
When you're money laundering, you gotta work out the paper trail a little bit better there. So one thing here, kind of trying to close up the talk here on this is Mark Maskey and Nikki J did some great Washington Post article. Go ahead and read that if you want. But tweets out, the NFL's informal review has found no major issues with the terms of Josh Harris's deal for the Commanders, source says, but other matters related to the sale must be addressed before it's approved by the owners. From last night with Nikki J on that one. Front Office Sports, AJ Perez tweet out, Josh Harris's $6.5 billion bid for the Washington Commanders is in. All Dan Snyder has to do is accept the offer. That was about an hour ago from AJ. And so, like you said, Trev, this kind of passed the first wickets. There was one thing that kind of caught their eye. It was a minor thing that being tweeted out by the journalist. Like there was a minor thing that the NFL was like, fix this, and then you guys are going to be going. And so this really could be a May time frame for us. So, it was kind of pitched earlier this week. Maybe we're looking at August, like in a kind of an emergency meeting August type deal. But now it's looking like if this all goes smooth, by the time end of May rolls around, we should have an answer.
Yep. And then you've had your draft. So before that, you've had your draft. You've had your second chance at free agency based off your draft.
Yeah.
And he's going to come in and just rock and roll and probably leave everything alone until we see what happens throughout the year. But the draft, that's a big thing coming up. I'm excited about the draft. I'm not going to lie. And it's only a week away.
It is about a week away. We do have the Draft Network coming on here in a little bit. Let's move off from this. And as we wait for our guests to join us, detour a little from our Washington Commanders real quick. Tommy Shepard was announced that he will no longer be with the team. Any thoughts on that one? Trev and I are definitely okay. Good. About time. Now find someone to deal this Beal contract. Stoner, this impacts you a little bit deeper than it does the other crew here. So what do you think? Not a Wizard hater.
You guys see, I mean, I know you guys deep down, you enjoy watching the Wizards lose and toil in mediocrity. I know you do. I know both of y'all do.
That's not true at all.
I'm tired of it always being there. So just like the Commanders, I don't know. It's just you're right.
I think this is here's a summary of Tommy Shepard's tenure as GM.
Not very good.
It has not been very good.
No,
as the great Steve Spurrier once said about his own football team. It has not been very good. He never won more than 35 games as a GM. He did some good things with contracts, but he didn't do anything with his drafts, and it's just been underwhelming. And he was a disciple of Ernie Grunfeld, who was there for about 13 years, I think. So it's just been kind of the same thing for the last 20 years. So we didn't see it coming, but it's a good deal.
Yeah.
And the Rui trade wasn't bad, by the way. Rui went off for 29. He'll never, ever, ever score 29 points in a playoff game the rest of his life.
The last time you said something about Rui scoring over 27 points in his career, he clearly did it. Now you're doubling back saying playoff game, like he won't do it again. He can easily do it again.
Okay, bet me right now.
I will bet you. I'll bet you.
How much you gonna bet me? You already owe me.
How many points? How many points do you want to say?
Person wins
29.
Yeah, 20. He'll never score 29 in a playoff game the rest of his life. So you've got like
that's a long term. Wait. Okay, hold on now. Do we have a loophole here? If Rui goes to a Japan league and makes the playoffs there and scores 42,
Stoner said his life.
It's a playoff. And
in his NBA career, he will never score. He will never score 29 points in a game. Who said it? Somebody said it like right after that game. Somebody from the opposing team. Remind me who they're playing.
Desmond Bain said it's okay.
Desmond Bain said it. He said Rui will.
Wednesday night.
Rui will never do that.
Desmond Bain ain't nothing but a linebacker that can shoot threes. He ain't no basketball player. Okay,
he's a good
He's
ball
not
player.
that great. He's really not. Have you watched him play? He's not that great.
He's way better than Rui is.
He is.
Oh, come on. Let's knock Rui that hard. But by the way, Gus Bus, I'm always finding those loopholes with it comes to Stoner. I'm the one who came out and said Reeves will outscore Rui this series.
Well, great job after Reeves scored like 35 in the first game. Of course he will.
No, he had 20-something.
He had less than Rui. It was
okay. Well, yes, we all know that to be correct.
We just mad because Rui's in the playoffs with the Lakers and he couldn't make it with the Wizards. That's why you real mad. 29 points or not.
It was actually that one year that they were in the playoffs with Russ and them. He actually had a pretty good series. That was his rookie year, but
Rui's just inconsistent. That's the problem.
He's in a good place
and
now.
So that's why I'm just like I'm not going to go as far as say the rest of his career, NBA career.
Those 3 second-round draft picks that they got for him are they're gonna be like Jokic, Draymond Green, and Desmond Bain. There you go. That's the 3 type of players they're gonna get from those second-round picks.
Hey, second-round picks are important. They definitely are important here in the NFL draft. When we come back, we got Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network here to help us decide which prospects should come to the Washington Commanders. That's all coming up here on The Game. Stick with us.
The Game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 5 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
Pacers Running for all your feet needs. Head out there, get that taken care of. Our guest here from the Draft Network, give him a big round of applause. Joining us here on Ref the District for the first time, it is Ryan Fowler.
Wrong one.
I'm giving you applause. Over there is, very loud.
I didn't know we had a live audience in the studio.
Yeah, we got a whole thing here. Ryan, thanks for joining us here on Ref the District. How are you tonight?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I'm doing well.
So the draft is 1 week away. You've been busy. Why don't you tell us like your experience and our viewers here, your experience as far as like with the Draft Network and how you go about your business preparing for the draft?
Yeah, so first things first, we're finally on the home stretch, guys. It's been a long, strenuous process from film, not just with these guys this year, but even last year, and then pro days and the combine. But yeah, it's a very strenuous process. We're kind of finalizing these player reports, evaluations, cross checks, and really get our team meetings together. And heading into Kansas City next week, we'll be in KC on site of the draft, and it's just such an enjoyable process, just because not just learning about these guys as football players, but having the unique opportunity to learn about these young men as who they are behind the face mask and who they are potentially for Washington and the burgundy and gold. We know that it matters for Ron Rivera. Guys that come in the building, not just that can lead with their play, but can lead as guys in the locker room as well. So it really is a rewarding process. It's long, it's lengthy, it's strenuous, but it is rewarding once these guys really, because bottom line is they're realizing a childhood dream, which is always cool to see.
Ryan, how long you been doing this? And kind of how did you get into being a draft guy?
Yeah, so I started out with Washington. I was in PR, and then I did some writing with them as well, a little bit hybrid role. Then I got opportunity with TDN back at the later portions of COVID, so late 2020, and then joined on there. My first draft was in 2021. Always been a sports guy. Played Division I baseball in college. Always been a basketball guy as well. Had the privilege of covering the Tokyo Olympics, or the men's and women's basketball tournaments for NBC as well. So just been around sports really my entire life. I'm a sports junkie and then former athlete as myself. Didn't make it to Major League Baseball. That was the goal. It didn't happen. But I always wanted to stay in sports, and football has always been a passion of mine. And growing up in the DC area, went to Mount Vernon and went to George Mason. So it's always been a passion of mine. But scouting is it's really enjoyable, just diving from obviously your Power 5 guys all the way down to your local D2 and D3 guys. You can play. And that's just what I love about scouting so much.
I was going to say, so within your position at the Draft Network and your role, what's the most strenuous part of the draft season? Is it film? Is it combine, pro days? Is it the D2 guys, Power 5? Like, what's your most strenuous, most focused, hard aspect of your role?
Yeah, I know for me, and you can ask anybody else at TDN, I try to find, if you could play ball and you're anywhere, I try to find you. I really try to pride myself on finding every single guy at every nook and cranny in this country. I didn't play at some big time Power 5 baseball school. I played at Coppin State in HBCU in Baltimore, Maryland. And I always kind of had that background as far as moving into scouting. If you can play, for me, I want to be able to find you. And with the Draft Network, we pride ourselves on being able to not just cover the guys who are going to be top 100 picks, but we're able to talk about the 262nd pick and all the way down to UDFAs as well. And that's what we prioritize ourselves on. And for me, I pride myself on as well.
I'm glad you mentioned the HBCU because I'm going to have a follow-up to that later, I'm sure. But let's get into this draft specifics for Commanders. What do you see as their needs coming into this draft?
Yeah, for me right now, it's corner. I want to get a guy, a CB1 in this defense to be able to shut down potentially a third of the field. Haven't had that in a long, long time. I think you even look back to days of Sean Springs and Carlos Rogers really on the outside, those types of ball players. So corner, tight end, Eric Bieniemy coming in the building, it's really throwing a wrench in this process for me as far as where Washington is going to evaluate these offensive guys. And I just don't see Logan Thomas, Cole Bates, John Bates and Cole Turner really moving the needle right now for him. And Armani Rogers is their best athlete in the room right now. And he's still unrefined, former quarterback convert from Ohio, had some nice flashes last year. But corner, tight end, got to get some more bodies at linebacker where they want to have another hybrid guy. Some edge guys, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, they have to be pushed. And I'm not seeing that from guys like James Smith-Williams and William Bradley King and Shaka Toney. So those are really the guys that I'm focused on. And then you could talk about running back if you want to get a guy late on day 3. I know that there's been talk as far as Hendon Hooker is probably a guy that maybe want to come in and compete for snaps, but mainly guys, it's corner, it's linebacker, it is offensive line for me, both inside and out.
All right, so let me ask you this then. We debate this quite a bit on this show. What do you do when it comes time to draft? Are you a best player available, or are you drafting for the need of a position, the best player at that position?
Yeah, for Washington's perspective, I don't think we're in the position to have a Philadelphia or Kansas City approach to where you can be luxury, or if you're a Philly and you're at 10 and you can pick a Bijan Robinson. I don't think Washington has that luxury right now to be at. So you got to look at value. You got to look at tackles, and you look at the corner specifically. And for me, you're sitting at 16, and the tackles that may be there, whether it's a Paris Johnson, a Broderick Jones, a DeJuan Jones, a Darnell Wright type. DeJuan Jones, I really don't think will be in Washington from everything I've heard outside of the building. I just don't see him fitting in the burgundy and gold just because he's right tackle only. But then you look at corner and how deep the class is. So trying to manage where you want to go, is there value later in, well, not just into day 2, but into day 3 as well, because Washington doesn't have a ton of picks. They don't have 10, 11 picks to pick out of their back pocket, maybe move up for guys, maybe move back. We did it last year and grabbed a guy like Jahan and grabbed some extra guys on day 2. But this year we will see. It's going to be difficult to see where Washington ultimately goes on day 1 and valuing corner and tackle, because I really feel like that's where their main holes are right now.
We have a question here from one of our listeners here. Gus Bus asks, which top cornerback prospects would not work in our system? Kind of bringing up, the William Jackson III not fitting in. And this is one of those things we've been kind of hearing around Joey Porter Jr., but I want your opinion, Ryan. Is there any one of the top CBs that don't fit that maybe Washington should be looking at, maybe a guy in the second round that they can fill in?
Yeah, for me, there's one guy that I don't see fitting at all, and that's Keely Ringo from Georgia. He lives on a linear plane in north-south, and he gets stiff at times in his lower half. And really, from everything I've heard out of the league is that they don't know if they're going to find his niche at corner or at safety, because the guy's over 215 pounds. Now, I would like to see him lose 5-10 pounds and get some more flexibility in that lower half. He's an extremely powerful guy. So in man, press man, at the line of scrimmage, we just have not seen a ton of that in Jack Del Rio's system. It's a lot of 5 to 7 yards off, longer guys, 33-inch arms. Look at Benjamin St. Just and 7 yards off, working downhill through the catch point, things like that. I don't see Keely Ringo exactly fitting inside of this defense. And even a guy more so that may go top 10 is Devin Witherspoon. I don't think he'd fit exactly what Washington wants to do, specifically because in man, he doesn't have the long speed to make up. That's a concern of teams. And then just flat out as a pure man corner and dominant on the outside, he doesn't have those traits. He's better in zone and working specifically 7 to 9 yards off. So Jack Del Rio's talked a bunch as far as playing man, playing some zone. We haven't had the athletes to play man. They're a little bit hybrid on the outside, but I want those guys that are like Christian Gonzalez. I do like Joey Porter in this defense. Emmanuel Forbes, guys that can play 7 yards off, long arms, make plays in the football, and get the ball back to the offense.
Ryan, we've heard a lot of cornerback names dropped and a lot of offensive line names dropped too, but you said linebacker is a need, but there's not, outside of Will Anderson, kind of an edge linebacker role, there's not too many popular names out there. Any linebackers that you could see that could come and contribute right away from maybe a day 2 or second round draft pick or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think even more so working into day 3 as far as guys that can offer you some coverage ability. I think of a guy, if they want to go on day 2 at 47, maybe Dayon Henley from Washington State. I think he has some of the best range in the class, sideline to sideline, former wide receiver. So he understands what he's looking at, finding those landmarks and coverage. They're working to day 3. Dorian Williams from Tulane, guy we saw down at the Senior Bowl, played really well, really physical, rocked up, kind of a throwback style look. He's got the high shoulder pads, no gloves. So that's a guy I want in January, just line up at the second level, playing ball for you. So that's a name. Michael Jones from Syracuse is a guy that I've liked throughout this process. Not overwhelmingly smooth in coverage, but kind of has the young, fresh legs to attack the A and B gaps, and is a really extremely nuanced blitzer as well. A lot of these younger guys just try to blitz downhill, north-south, and bull rush and see what happens, but a lot of these guys don't have a nuanced approach. He does as well. And then another name that I'm interested to see where he goes really and how the league evaluates him is Nick Herbig from Wisconsin, a guy that can stick his hand in the dirt and stand up for you at 5 tech outside the tackle, or as a 9 tech outside the tight end, and then play off-ball linebacker and offer some unique looks in coverage, carrying running backs and tight ends in space. So he can guy that fit a multitude of roles in one jersey. So that's Nick Herbig from Wisconsin I like a lot as well.
Yo, this guy knows his stuff.
I know. I got another question.
Ryan's
another one real quick for you guys?
Yeah,
Stoner's the one who needs to be
deep.
taking notes. Stoner's got a mock draft right after this, and so he better be keeping track of all these names you're throwing out there. Go ahead, Trev.
All right, so Ryan, you're the GM of the Commanders. Your pick is up at 16, and there is, let's say, Christian Gonzalez is there. Then you got Paris Johnson, offensive tackles there, and let's say another stud linebacker's there. Who do we pick at 16, depending on the needs we have, and who's the most important need out of the needs that should be addressed first?
Yeah, if Christian Gonzalez from Oregon is there at 16, I'm sprinting to the podium. If I'm Martin Mayhew, Ron Rivera,
Martin Mayhew would be faster than Christian Gonzalez in that particular instance.
So quarterback, it should be our first pick. Like even if our tackles there that we like, our quarterback should be our first.
Yeah, guys. I'm a little interested to see where Washington evaluates a tackle class because Andrew Wiley, I feel like is going to start at right tackle, and Cosme's going to be the right guard. I know they like Charles Leno, but you turn on that second Giants game and you watch him against Kayvon Thibodeau, and guys, it's ugly. You guys watch that game. Really ugly. I know Darnell Wright, he's one of my favorite tackles in the class. People forget he started his career at Tennessee at left tackle before going over to right tackle, so he has that versatility. For me, really at 16, if Christian's there, 100% the pick. But for me, my focus is on 2 guys. That's Deonte Banks from Maryland and Darnell Wright from Tennessee, or 2 guys I do think will be there at 16.
What about Anton Robinson? I'm rocking my crimson and cream here. Anton Robinson out of Oklahoma.
Oh, Anton Harrison.
Anton Harrison, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. No, look, Oklahoma tackles, right? We obviously, Trent Williams in the past, big 71, as good as he was here. Orlando Brown, Creed Humphrey in the middle for the last few years for Kansas City. He's by no means Trent Williams coming out of school.
Yeah.
A little bit unrefined as far as up top, but lower half, and his feet, his ability to get out on those hybrid rushers that are 240 pounds and try to run that edge, or guys who want to stick that outside foot in the ground at 260 pounds and win with power. He can just stick those feet in the ground and anchor against them as well. I love his game, but I just think he's going to be a guy that right now I'm not going to plug and play at left tackle and take him at 47. Project, sure, but I think he's an okay player. I want to see him a little bit more as far as fluidity and strength in the run game as well. I think he can get beat with guys with power at times where he gets a little lazy with his hands, doesn't play with a ton of leverage, get those hands inside the breastplate and really jolt guys back. Really fluid athlete. Him and Jalen Duncan really from Maryland are 2 guys that I like as far as athletes in the class. But I think right now I don't see the fit there with Anton Harrison right away.
All right, so we've been talking about all these big uglies and these cornerbacks and all. Let's get to the sexy guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this whole Hendon Hooker debate.
Oh, I was about to ask one about that too. Let's go.
Because I'm under the impression, personally, that if you are putting all your eggs in the Sam Howell basket, then the last thing you want to do is bring in a high-profile second-round pick like Hendon Hooker, because that's saying we don't have all our eggs in the Sam Howell basket. But are you in favor of creating that competition and saying, well, maybe Sam's not the guy. Let's go and get a backup plan?
Yeah, so I'm all for competition. I think Ron is too. I think you guys over the years look at, like, as far as bringing in guys at different positions, snaps should be earned, never given. And I love that about Ron Rivera, but not at quarterback right now. And I don't see the fit. Love Hendon. I really enjoyed getting to know him in this process. Really, really impressive kid. But I like Sam. I really do. Jacoby as your QB2, potentially guys that can play 17 or more games for you. We know the QB carousel of Washington has turned for a long time. So hopefully those guys are the guys with 17 games or more. But Hendon, this team has more needs at 16 and 47. Wherever they make those picks there or they move back or trade up, who knows? But Hendon, I wish the best for him somewhere else. I just don't see him coming into Washington right now, and that being a smart pick and an allocation of assets that makes sense, because there are holes in this roster that if you can get it right with rookies that compete and produce right away, you're not just going to compete in the NFC East this year. You may compete to win the division and get yourself a playoff spot, to what we got to get back to in Washington. We got to get back to it.
Commandees wants to move out of the first round there discussion. Wants your thoughts on a couple of Browns, Jair Brown and Sidney Brown. You got any thoughts on either of those two?
Yeah, I think Sidney Brown is the most cerebral athlete in this class. Him at the Senior Bowl, he was coaching up the coaches down at the Senior Bowl, and they only had 3 practices. Tells you a lot about how he studies his habits. And you look at the guy, he looks like he was carved out of a damn mountain. It's unbelievable. Canadian kid, his brother Chase, obviously Illinois running backs, going to go on day 2 as well. Really like his game, but Washington got a lot of safeties in the room, so that's a little crowded. And then Jair Brown, we know maybe the State College to Ashburn pipeline is going to be fruitful maybe again this year with a guy like Joey Porter, or maybe they even take a guy like Juice Scruggs, who's a center from the Nittany Lions that has gotten some attention as well from the Commander's staff. But Jair Brown's a good – I like his game. It's just he's someone that unfortunately reminds me of Tariq Castro Fields. I know Tariq pplayed corner, but they do a little bit similar things. Better downhill, better in space, a little bit more better athlete, but stiff in the hips. I want to see guys in the secondary play fluid at the second level, at the third level, and especially in Washington, guys, where we got Derek Forrest and Cam Curl, and you got Percy Butler that has range sideline to sideline. There's a certain fit and a certain mold that Washington likes in their safeties. I see it in Sidney Brown. I just don't see that in Jair Brown.
So with our spot at 16 and 47 on day 1, day 2, round 1, round 2, is there any scenario you could see where we would possibly move up for some reason, or from 16, or move back for some reason at 16? Because last year we thought we were staying pat and picking the receiver that we thought we'd get. We didn't. We got a receiver that we thought was a day 2 receiver, but turns out he's a home run.
A lot of people, our viewers, end up trying to talk us into moving up. They think that Washington needs kind of that blue chip player you might not get at 16.
Yeah.
So is there a situation like Trev's saying, moving up from 16?
Yeah, I think the maybe 2 guys to trade up for in that spot from 16 would be 2 tackles. And I think that'd be for either Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson. For Paris, though, I do have major concerns as far as his technicality. He is a guy who turned back on a high school tape, and he's just throwing dudes around because he's the strongest, biggest athlete on the field. And he did a lot of that at Ohio State as well. There's a lot of room to grow for Paris Johnson. Now, projectability is this whole thing, right? Evaluation of guys is who they are, not in 2023, who are they going to be in 2026 and 2027. And really, you draft him this year, he's going to be protecting Sam Howell's blind side under center. And the best way to allow a young quarterback to reach that performance ceiling is allowing him to stand up, not on his back looking up towards the sky, right? So that matters too. But if they trade up, if Bijan Robinson is their guy, guys, and he's still slipping past the 10, 11, 12, and that's their guy, then by all means go and get him. I'll never be upset. Never be upset if you get a talent like Bijan.
So you're saying if Bijan's there at 16, we take him no matter what we need?
If you take a talent like Bijan Robinson at 16, I would not be upset about a talent like Bijan Robinson. Yeah, he's a special talent.
Oh, what about if Jalen Carter falls all the way to 16?
Yeah, absolutely take him. 100%. Yes.
Even though you got 2 Pro Bowl highly paid defensive tackles already, and a second round
last year.
I know Jalen Carter. Look, I'm not going to sit here and judge a guy's character and the stuff that he's been through. I'm going to judge him as a football player, and he's a flat out stud. And guys are just mentioning with Bijan and Jalen, that's the number 2 and 3 guys on my board. They're flat out studs, and they're going to be for a long time. So guys like that drop that far. There's other stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't see either of them slipping out of the top 12, 13 picks. I really don't. But again, specifically with Bijan, you're not going to not potentially draft a guy like that if he is your guy because you have a Brian Robinson in the building or Antonio Gibson, to where, from what I've heard, he's going to play some H-back and some tight end this year because people forget he played wide receiver at Memphis. So
hold on.
Did you say AG? You going to say tight end?
He's going to play he's going to play a lot in space this year. Yes, expect that.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, I like it. Let me ask you this, Ryan, kind of getting a little bit away from the draft, but still Washington related. If it was up to you, are you picking up Chase Young's 5th-year option? That's a tough one, right? We've debated that a billion times.
Because you did mention Edge would be a part of a draft pick.
Yes.
So.
You always want Edge.
Right now, I will say no. And it is unfortunate because I've been wanting to see Chase and Montez reach this performance ceiling together as a duo for a long time, and we haven't seen it. We saw Chase in 2020. Montez was fantastic last fall, but together we just haven't seen it yet. Now, if he goes out here this year fully healthy and dominates the way we think he can, the way the expectations were as a top 3 pick, then you pick it up. But the thing is that you may not have that option. And it scares me, guys, because this is a top 3 pick and you're expecting him to be a dominant force, a defensive player of the year candidate every single year. That's what you're expecting him to be. But he hasn't been that so far. I hope he's healthy. He's a leader, absolutely face the franchise. I wish the best for him. But as of right now, on April 19, 2023, I'm not picking it up.
So, staying on the draft adjacent kind of conversation right now is it's the Sam Howell one. A lot of people like to bring up the fact that even though he was a 5th-round pick, people evaluated him as a 1st or 2nd-round pick the year prior. Yeah. What are we getting into with Sam Howell at quarterback from your reviews from his time in North Carolina?
Yeah, absolutely. He was a day 2 guy for me as well. And I think when you watch Sam Howell in college, right, he ran that offensive RPO game that Phil Longo ran as the offensive coordinator in North Carolina. You look at what Eric Bieniemy likes to do with RPOs. I think it's going to jigsaw extremely well. And what I love about Sam is he's not a half-field reader. And some of these quarterbacks that come into the league are half-field guys. Hendon Hooker was a half-field guy at Tennessee, but I think he's going to progress it in the NFL. And what you look at Sam's mechanics, and even when he drops back, he keeps that left hip open, which gives him full access to the entire field. He's not closed off with that left shoulder and is only seeing the right side of the screen. So if you go back and watch Sam and his mechanics, even at North Carolina and this year, his left hip is open and full access to the entire field to stick that back foot in the ground and rip every single throw. And if it's not there, he can create with his legs. In 2020, for Pitt, we didn't see it a ton because they had Daz Newsome and they had Michael Carter and Javonte Williams and De'Ami Brown. Then you go into 2021 and he didn't have a great offensive line and he had Josh Downs on the outside. But other than that, the guys weren't there. He involved his legs. He consistently improved under center. And now you're moving into this year where he's going to have most likely the full reins of the offense with an offensive structure with under Eric Bieniemy, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. You guys know all the names. I'm extremely excited for the kid. I think he's going to bust his tail in the summer to get as good as possible. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And again, he's on a rookie contract, so he's not breaking any banks.
There you go.
Where do we get our tight end from to help our tight end room in this draft? What round, what day, where?
Not going to be surprised if it's at 16, guys. And I'm not going to be surprised if they pass on a guy 16 and take a guy like Sam Laporta from Iowa at 47. Yeah. This is a tight end class that has a lot of talent. Guys that can play the Y, so attached to the line of scrimmage, or play the F, flex out in the slot, flex out in space, do a lot of different things for you. We know how important tight ends are in Eric Bieniemy's offense. It's not just Travis Kelce. It's Jody Fortson. It's Blake Bell. It's Noah Gray. It's a guy like Michael Burton that started his career in Washington as that H-back. Guys that create offensive mismatch and nightmares for defenses to counter. You got to get a guy that may move the needle at the spot. So Dalton Kincaid, obviously at 16. You got all the names: Michael Mayer, Darnell Washington, Sam Laporta, Luke Musgrave. Those are really the big-time flex options. So tight end, they have to get a guy in the building that will not just be a sure set of hands over the middle of the field for Sam Howell, but also be that dynamic yak and rack weapon over the middle portions of the offense as well.
What's Gandy Golden or Kelvin Harmon doing nowadays, right? We still can convert those guys to tight end, right? We tried that.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So you brought up the HBCU connection with your particular baseball college career there. Any HBCU names that we should be tracking and pretty excited if we hear their name called for the Burgundy and Gold?
Yeah, I got a couple. One guy I love on day 3 is Aubrey Miller Jr. We saw down at the Senior Bowl from Jackson State. Everybody was calling him Unk down in Mobile. And this is a guy that, look, He's not going to be someone you want to start on all 3 downs and be a coverage linebacker for you. Has size concerns in the NFL, but he is someone that plays downhill, A and B gaps, and will blow your chin strap off and look over you and let you know about it. And those are the linebackers that I love to play in this league, because it's really kind of throwback style. Another guy is Isaiah Land from FAMU, Florida A&M. He's been playing some off-ball linebacker, where the league evaluates him now, because he's only 230, 235. He actually led the FCS, I believe, in sacks in 2021, 19 and a half for the Rattlers. So he's got that bend and burst off the edge. And then another guy is a receiver, Jadakiss Bonds from Hampton, and Shaq Davis from South Carolina State. He was out at Shrine Bowl, 6'5", really athletic. Jadakiss as well was dominant for Hampton. Just really big boys, big bodies, come in on day 3 or UDFAs and get a mini camp invite. And all you need is an opportunity, fellas. So that's a couple names from the HBCU roots.
I'll take anybody named Jadakiss.
Right.
I mean, I'll just take that guy. If that guy's playing football, I'm taking him. But I tell you what, after all of this, I've got a mock draft coming up here at 8:30. I thought I knew what I was going to do. Now I'm just everywhere, because now I want to take a tight end. I want to take a corner. I want to move up and go get Paris Johnson or something. I don't know what I'm going to do, because, man, you got some really good information, Ryan. I like what you're doing, and appreciate all your time here for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Look, 16, the whole draft's really going to be fun. I'm not exactly sure where Washington's going to go at 16 or 47 or on moving into day 3, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you jumping on here with us, Ryan. This is Ryan Fowler from the Draft Network. Where can our viewers find you and all the good information that you've been spewing out here today?
Yeah, absolutely. All my written work, more video and audio content is at thedraftnetwork.com. I have my podcast, Commanding the Huddle, is out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And then if you don't follow me already, on Twitter, of course, _ Ryan Fowler.
All right. Again, we appreciate you, Ryan. Let's get one more round of applause from the one that's a little bit more audio appropriate. Stoners was a little loud there. But thanks again, Ryan.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Yeah, he sounds like a little mini Adam Schefter. His voice, his mannerisms, and everything.
What do you think? He's like 25, maybe?
Bro,
how old he is.
That's a lot of info you got to like.
He wasn't going from notes.
Read. He was like, oh, yeah.
What
should we call it? Brown? Yeah, he's a.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I never even heard of that dude.
Right. I've never even heard of these people.
Yeah, no, we didn't sneak in a Richardson one there, which I'm surprised Stoner didn't, as far as the.
He gone.
Yeah, he'll probably be gone.
Guys, I'm telling you.
So, well, we do have a mock draft coming up to use all that knowledge, and we got the man himself, Rio Robinson, in the house. So stick with us for that as we have another mock draft here in the Cool Down.
The Cool Down is brought to you by Manscaped. Ever since my Nathan started using their products, I can't cool down. Fellas, trust me. Go to Manscaped right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code REF. Your ladies will appreciate you. Now back to Trev, Stoner, and my Manscaped man, Nathan.
That's right. Manscaped.com. Head out there. Get yourself some money here. 20% off. Free shipping if you head out to manscaped.com. Trev, what you laughing at, my man?
Because each video that we have shown,
you haven't been seeing.
It's been frozen, and it's like,
oh, really?
All right, we're back to the like it's not playing for me at all. It's just like
you're just paused in time there, Trev.
I don't know
but
what it is.
I thought you were laughing at in the green room there. We can see Rio, and he was watching that video, and he was laughing at us.
His reaction. It's a great video. EP does a great job with it, and like I said, manscaped.com. Use the code REF. Get yourself some 20% off and free shipping there. Rio is in the background, so let's go ahead and bring him up and give this man a round of applause as well. Thank you, Rio, for joining us.
Glad to be here, man. We finally made it happen, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we tried to get Rio on for our big show Thursday as the news kind of dropped on the sale thing. So before we get into the mock draft, we wanted to give you that opportunity to kind of tell us your thoughts on the Harris deal coming closer and closer to the finish line.
Hey man, it's a euphoric feeling. It is a brand new, it's a new day in Washington sports. It feels like all the karma and negative energy that the Snyder cloud has hung over FedEx Field for the last 20 years, it's dissipating, and we can be free to take back our football team. Everything's on the table now. When free agency or a hot coaching hire or a hot front office candidate is available, we don't have to automatically have our noses turned up. Everything is officially back on the table, and we can be a well-run organization again, something that I have never seen my time being alive and being a fan. So it is a beautiful day.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. Hopefully things will get there. Obviously, you got some of the funny business with Davis going on today, $7 billion, anything on that. What do you think about him coming in the 11th hour, $1 billion on top, indemnification? He's got money. He's got white people money, Rio. According to him himself said it. So
he said the Saudis, I got my money from white people. First of all, the junkies knew exactly what they were doing getting that guy on the show. Like, this guy, he sounds like the people that you see on Instagram in your DM saying, we'll give you 200, or you give us 200, we'll give you 2,000. He sounds like the typical scammer. That 40 minutes was one of the more entertaining but also embarrassing interviews I've ever. He's not in any conversation to buy any sports franchise. I'm not sure he could put in a successful bid for the Washington Mystics, if we're being totally honest. And it sounds like he got a lot of funny money, and he owes a lot of checks to a lot of people, business-wise, and like Scottie Pippen and Sean Merriman said he owes them money. And
Sean Merriman been in the league for since what?
I know. It feels like he ain't been in the league for 2 decades, and he owes him a check. So I'm not sure how he thinks he could get. It sounds like whatever business he actually does run, what is it, Clean Energy? It sounds like his business could use a boost, so he wanted to put his name out there so people on social media can say it. He went on a radio show, and it was hilarious that he started to get mad at the junkies because they were tired of the nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
entertaining.
It was super entertaining though. But I don't think he has the money because, again, I don't think billionaires just kind of fall out of the sky just all of a sudden. When nobody knew he was a billionaire until all of a sudden he's one of the top 20 richest people on earth. That just doesn't make any sense.
As being 2 white guys, did you guys give him money?
We didn't.
I need $5, Rio. If he could just give me $5, he says he wants to help out the community. Just give me $5. There we go. We'll start there. It is interesting, actually. You're right, because there's other Washington teams up for sale. If his big thing is trying to give back to the community, that might be. Maybe he gets into those, but probably not. Money's not there. Doesn't matter now, as we're going to hit up this mock draft here. Rio and Stoner, this is going to be you two working together for this as kind of the Marty and Marty duo.
Yep.
Trev might play Dan Snyder's, swan song coming off the yacht and being like, nope, you're going to take this guy. And
I don't want to be that role.
Hey, I don't
want to be that role. I'll be EB. Let me be the officer.
Whoever went to school closest to Snyder's son is going to be the draft pick.
Precisely. All right, let's bring this up here. We are using PFF for this, and I already set it up to try to get some good randomization there.
Okay.
Do you gentlemen?
Yeah.
And I'm going to put you guys. Now you guys are perfect on the top and bottom there.
Yeah.
Do you gentlemen want to move up prior to draft? Make any draft moves here before we get started?
I don't think so, Rio. No, there's nobody there that we're going to give up future picks or draft capital or players to.
We just had Ryan Fowler on. He said really one of the tackles is the only one you're going to move up for,
Paris
right?
Johnson, it feels like the only option for moving up, but I think we're going to stay pat. But being that I'm Martin Mayhew, whatever Ron Rivera says, I have to follow that up with a cosign. So
we got to score points. I mean, we need points. So be smart here, boys. Be smart here, boys.
All right. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
I'm going to go ahead and start the draft. Then I've got it going a little slow so you guys can see it going through. CJ Stroud getting off the start there. Will Levis, Willie Anderson down in 5th, man.
Yeah, this is all seems
Skaronski
pretty
off the
usual.
board.
Paris Johnson over there.
Oh, tackle runs.
Gonzalez just before Joey Porter Jr., man, back to back with the cornerbacks that Washington kind of has their eye on there with Christian Gonzalez and Joey Porter Jr. Any surprises for you guys? Looks like pretty standard board here as we're coming into pick 16.
I don't think there's any surprises there. It's I don't know
about what I expect for it to be like for us at 16.
Yeah. So of course we'd like to trade back, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the only pick that is available to you, as you can see it on here, is the Arizona Cardinals. That are interested in this version. So pick 34. That's probably too far back.
Nah, we're not.
All right, Rio.
The first round.
We need. Are you a draft? Are you a best player available, or are you a draft for need and get the best player for that particular need?
I'd say I'd fall in the gray area in between both of them. And I know we need a lineman. But I want some juice in that cornerback room as well.
Banks is there.
I have my eye on a guy. Who are you thinking right now? Because I'm thinking of a Terrapin right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any problem going with Banks. He's obviously fast, and he's I don't know, man. I like him. I don't think it's a great pick at 16, but we can't trade back and still get him. I mean, we can't trade back. If we could trade back and get him, that would be awesome. But
take him right
I think
now.
he's our guy. I think we have to get a cornerback right now. Let's not even play around with this and try and think that we're going to go get a tight end or anything, because
I like him too because he offers our favorite 2 words, position flex, because he can play on the outside and inside.
That's right.
He has the athleticism and the speed to do both, has nice hip fluidity. And I personally like Deonte Banks better than Joey Porter Jr. So I am very comfortable picking him here at 16. Who else? What linemen are on the board? Darnell Wright.
Yeah, Darnell Wright's there, and then Anton Harrison here.
Yeah, we might be able to pick him up later, maybe,
possibly.
Maybe
I'm all for Banks here. What do you think, EB?
Deontay Banks is fine with me. I'll take that.
All right,
you're okay going defense there?
I'm okay going defense. I do like that Dalton Kincaid kid. I love him. I love my
like
tight
him
end.
too.
You know
I like him too. I don't know if we can get away with picking him here, but I like him too.
I think
we could get either Laporta or Musgrave or somebody else down the line, maybe next round. But right now, Deontay Banks is a good pick, guys.
Yeah.
All right, Banks is the pick. Let's keep it moving here.
That was a little too easy. I think it's going to get a little more contentious.
Down with the guys when you don't know. Here we go. Brian Branch off the board now.
It's because the top 15 picks went according to like everybody's mocks. Like there was no surprises. The board looks like I feel like the board when we get to 16, it's going to be Banks versus whatever best lineman's available, and that's what's going to be the choices there.
What about Bijan being available there? Ryan Fowler was on a little bit earlier. He said if he's there, you absolutely have to take him.
He ends up going 32 here to the Steelers.
Oh, there's no way he's lasting to 32.
No, you don't think he'll go that?
I don't think Bijan. I think someone like the Chargers, they could come up to 16 and get him.
The Cowboys could get him too with 26. They wanted to.
I love Bijan. If we took Bijan, I wouldn't be mad, man.
That's what Ryan was telling us. He was just like, you can't be upset. That's the best player. And that's kind of what I was telling those guys last year. Safety was one of the top, talents in the draft. We didn't really want him. We wanted offensive firepower, but he's the best player available. Bashawn Robinson's top 3 talent in this draft. If he falls to 16, you really have to give that. Here's a few names here going from 27 to 29 that were on our radar there. Mayer, Forbes, and Kincaid. So those won't be there.
We all right.
Well, we're not all the way done yet, though.
That's true.
Oh, Gibbs, I do like. Oh, there goes Torrance. All right.
There goes Darnell Washington. Hendon Hooker to the Jets.
Musgrave, damn.
Musgrave off the board.
Oh, and
Avila's off the board.
Avila.
Avila's gone too.
We all wanted Avila.
That was my guy.
All right. So, all right, here we go at 47. We still haven't gotten an offensive lineman yet. I am personally going tight end here.
I like tight end here. I think we can get good value at guard with one of our next 2 picks. Is Sam Laporta the best tight end on the board right now? Musgrave's off the board, correct?
Yep. Laporta is your best tight end option.
And Darnell Washington's off the board as well.
Yep.
Darnell Washington went just up above. Yeah, went to Tennessee at 41.
Yep. Go ahead, Laporta. I'm on
Laporta. Iowa players don't bust. Give them to me.
No, yep.
All right. Laporta is the answer there. For the record, this is where I would have argued with you. I mean, I love
the
Felix.
edge.
I love Felix.
He's pretty nice.
But
the edge, you would have went edge there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That Felix is so good.
All right, now we're gonna
especially because you're on the you're talking about not taking the 5th-year option for Chase Young. So get yourself a good edge rusher that's going to fill in if you know. So just to me, that makes sense to lock up a solid edge. So yeah, we got lots of people in the chat. Appreciate you. Appreciating Rio coming out here. A lot of people love the tight end. Pick. Not a lot of people loved the Maryland pick, but they can sit there and take that.
Banks is good, man.
Banks is fine. I'm not overly excited taking him at 16. I'm not against taking him at 16. That position flex that you talked about is probably what's best because I think they like St. Juste and Fuller on the outside. So getting somebody who's that the inside slot guy, the slot corner is what's needed. And that's really why I'm, if you can get that guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, you get that guy in the 2nd or 3rd round. Here we are. We're on the clock again. Tanner McKee is still there.
Tanner McKee.
Hodges Tomlinson is actually the one I'm looking at as like a 3rd round to kind of fill that slot corner out and thinking that you might be able to go elsewhere.
We need a linebacker here, guys, if we can get one.
I would love a linebacker here.
Or guard.
I need a guard here.
Was that guard just passed?
Chandler Zavala. I like Chandler Zavala. I need a guard. I like that. Let's see what else is on the board. Let's see what backers.
Guards, Nathan. Can you just show
strictly the guards? Absolutely.
Yeah. Guards and
linebackers. Interior offensive linemen are Zavala, Juice Scruggs.
Why can't we do this? Why can't we take a center, Juice Scruggs, and move Gates over to guard?
Is Weipler and Tipman both off the board?
I know Weipler definitely is. He went early 2nd.
You want to move Nick Gates to guard, Stoner? Why?
Yeah, because he played plenty of guard.
Weipler went at 73.
And if not, who are we going to play at guard other than
you draft one?
Chandler Zavala.
Yeah, draft one.
Have him compete with Chris Paul for left guard.
I like me some Chris Paul, though, but I don't think he's ready to play every game, every down.
I'll tell you what, he'll be better than Norwell.
Yeah, that's true. But why can't you put Gates over there at guard and then draft yourself a center?
We already have Larson and
I like Voorhees before he's tore his ACL at the combine.
Oh,
so you don't like Scruggs? It's too early for him.
I feel like it might be too early for Scruggs.
Go to linebackers, Nathan. See if there's any backers we should look at right here.
They said we don't use the tight ends we have because we don't have a great tight end room. That's why they're not very good at the time. Cole Turner looked good for 2 weeks of camp. Never saw it again.
Right. Dorian Williams is there. Ivan Pace Jr. is there. Noah Sewell's there.
There's nobody. Well, Ventrell, but
no.
Dorian Williams is good. I think he might be there for our next selection.
Yeah. You think he'll be there at 118?
I think we got to go guard here.
All right.
Are we good with the Zavala kid?
Yeah, man. I want a center. I want a center.
We got Larson. We got what's his name out? Who else?
Tim was asking. He said,
"I think Gates is the guy at center."
Rouillet
I think Gates is our guy at center too.
I think Gates is the starter. He's going to be the guy. They brought him here. They got a multi-year deal. He's the guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Zavala then. Stoner's caving.
Okay. If I give you all this, you got to give me the next one.
You got it.
I'm dealing. I'm
got it.
All right, Chandler Zavala is the pick. Next one's going to come out 118 there. There's Jill Brown getting off the board. There's a name we talked with Ryan saying not a good
Come on,
fit here
Dorian,
and
be
some
there, be
concern.
there.
Fournier's played like 10 games over the last 10 years. I mean, over the last 2 years. Like this.
Yeah. He got
we can't really and then Ron barely wanted to even say his name when they talked about him last. It doesn't sound like
Yo, linebackers here. Dorian Williams is still here. Stone, is that who we taking right now?
What we doing, Marty?
Linebacker.
All right, let's.
You say Tanner McKee, I'm quitting my job.
No. I don't even think.
I like Isaiah McGuire.
If Hendon Hooker was available right now, I still wouldn't take him.
Right.
Putting that out there now.
Good call. I wouldn't either.
I'd go edge here.
I like the edge.
Ooh.
I like the dude. I like McGuire.
Isaiah McGuire.
McGuire. I'm with it here. I like it.
I'm happy with that.
Whoa, he did it with you see what Nathan did? He didn't allow for any back.
No. Moved it right along.
Going to the Ravens.
He said, sprint that card to New York right now.
Right.
These guys disagree with me, Rio, when it comes to that. I think that Washington should be picking up an edge for the reasons I described. Where do you stand on that? Do you think that edge, even though it's not listed as a need here on PFF, is kind of a need for Washington, or just is this, for me personally, it's a position you can't have too many good edge rushers.
Yeah, this is true. And also, I think 2 years from now, Chase Young is not going to be on the roster. So, yeah, I do think that we should take an edge at some point.
Sewell's brother. I forget his first name. P. Nate Sewell's brother.
Noah Sewell.
Yeah, he went. All right. Yeah. So we got to go linebacker here, right?
Oh, now you want to go linebacker?
Yeah, now I do.
Well, there's no linebackers available.
We don't care about the linebacker position here.
We do not care about
linebacker.
I tell you what, you're probably picking up another safety.
I'll take
instead
Ronnie
of a
Hickman and bring him down
linebacker.
the slot. We could do that.
Nope. We're not taking a safety.
I think we should keep it on brand and we should ignore the linebacker position because it's what we do here, guys.
And I'm serious. They're going to take a big safety and just be like, he's our linebacker flex
Ronnie
guy.
Hickman right here.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Or Anthony Johnson from Iowa.
Running back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let me see
Mitchell from East Carolina.
Who?
Explosion.
I take Mitchell
East Carolina. That's a burner. We need someone in that backfield that can hit a home run because we don't have any of those.
Yeah, we actually don't have
singles and double hitters. Deuce Vaughn's like 5'5", 160, but he's Darren Sproles light.
I like
5'5", 179 here. Doesn't run like it though. BFS says.
I like Keaton Mitchell.
I need speed on the offense.
Yeah,
talking. We need some speed.
What's his 40?
More speed.
The 40.
Keaton Mitchell looks. I think Keaton Mitchell around like he looks on tape like a 4.3 guy.
Whew.
Deuce Vaughn is the third down utility back that we could use. He's tiny as hell.
He could be our J.D. McKissick.
Pretty much.
Why don't they
it's between Deuce Vaughn
and Keaton Mitchell?
I like Keaton Mitchell, man.
Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, they don't have 40 times in there, huh?
He's explosive, though. I could probably find
He's lightning in a
bottle.
Take us,
sir. Yes, sir. He's a home run hitter. He wears 24. He's an absolute home run hitter, man.
13 carries of 15 or plus yards. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
31 carries.
31, sorry.
179 at 5'8".
Dyslexic as hell,
It was. It was real bad.
Home run hitter. Gibson's gone next year. Gibson's gone next year, guys.
That's a small guy as Keaton.
Mitchell.
All right, you convinced me.
4.37.
4.37. Oh yeah,
that's what Mitchell ran.
4.37. Yes, sir.
My friend.
On his second 40.
Hey, Jared Patterson, guard. Different Jared Patterson, not the Nick.
You mean the Jared Patterson's?
I do like picking up another running back there. I think that as fun as it was watching Jonathan Williams do fairly decent in the last couple of games, you really do need to have more of an explosive back. And I think that they are going to be using Gibby more in space and maybe not necessarily as a pure running back.
I'm gonna need all of you guys to turn on, all you guys in the chat. I'm gonna need y'all to actually turn on Keaton Mitchell tape because Keaton Mitchell is one of top 3 most explosive backs in this class. Like that dude he's lightning in a bottle for real. Like watch him.
Gus says worst draft in YouTube this year.
Whatever, Gus.
Hey, Rio, Ryan Fowler mentioned something that I hadn't heard before, that they're talking about putting Gibson at tight end
in space.
The hell?
Yeah, he said that's some talk in camp that EB wants to put him in tight end just so he can get him in space. He didn't say slot. He said
he'd get blown off the ball. So
it'd be like watching Zeke at center.
That's like when we put Antonio Gandy Golden out there. Zeke at center. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Hell no, I don't know what that is.
Interesting that he said that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hadn't heard that before.
I guess that's what you can do. Third days of off-season workouts when matching short sets and we're just shooting the stuff out at Commander's Park, but no.
And I think actually it might be a test to see just how willing Gibby is willing to like conform to EB, because remember EB is this guy who's going to challenge you and make you want to think. And a lot of people think Gibby's a diva.
Oh, he is.
And so they're probably challenging some of those. But here we go, guys. What's the pick here?
193. Linebacker now.
Linebacker. I'm telling you, you guys aren't taking a linebacker.
I think at this point we might have punted on the linebacker position like we always do.
Ooh, Dorian
Thompson Robinson.
Take him right now.
I don't think he should be here, so I would. That's who I would take.
I'm taking him right now.
Yep.
Do it.
You're gonna have to fire me. You're gonna have to fire me. That's all.
You got to give me a better counter argument than that, Stoner, because you can be walking out the door. Right
I don't want any of the remaining backers that are on.
You don't take a linebacker right now. I like DTR, especially this late.
Hit it.
Stoners are another position that you want to look at here.
Robinson's a great last name.
Can I see some interior offensive linemen still, please?
Come on. I don't think you're going
to Chris Paul
I don't think you're going to go this route.
What about the kid from Jackson State, that linebacker? Is he gone already?
Yeah.
No,
is he?
Not. He's not. He's still on the board. You can get him later.
Let me just see.
Aubrey Miller.
Aubrey Miller you can get later.
And Ventrell Miller's there too.
There he is.
You're going to get Aubrey with your last pick there. Don't
DTR right now, bro.
Honestly, I'm not in the room here. Maybe I'm Ron, or maybe I'm just some annoying intern that's just like, I think you guys might want to go wide receiver here.
No.
Hold on. Pull up the receiver. Pull up the receiver.
I don't mind receiver.
I bet my boy Raheem Jarrett. Oh, Raheem Jarrett. Done. Raheem Jarrett for me. Raheem Jarrett.
Ronnie Bell's still there too.
Yes.
Another
Raheem
6 foot.
Jarrett. You are new Curtis Samuel when he leaves next year.
Oh.
And you can return punts and kicks in the meantime.
Oh.
Explosion.
I'm winning just because we're not taking a quarterback. So, so you guys can say
you're good with the Raheem.
I love receivers. Y'all can look at what else we got. There's the big guy, the Fresno State. There's some other guy. I love Raheem Jarrett though.
I do too. I like Demas too, but that's maybe just because we've seen him a bunch of times.
Demas had that injury a year or two ago.
He had that nasty.
It was disgusting. Oh my god,
that was Demas. All right,
Bobo's a name that I keep circling around, but again, that's one you could probably grab.
He's that Rio wearing a Turpin's jersey. Now I like Raheem Jarrett though, man.
Raheem Jarrett.
He's versatile, man. He's electric.
He's Curtis Samuel when Curtis leaves, and we'll take him.
All right, that's a win. I'll take that as a win.
By the way, DTR, the very next pick.
Please immediately plug Raheem Jarrett at punt return, because I cannot watch Dax Milne failed punts anymore.
Oh, thank you. At least he doesn't fumble, though.
He catches them, though. He doesn't Steven Sims Jr. them, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Precisely why he earned that job was just like, just don't muck it up, okay? Just don't do that.
Get already at 2
bare minimum, boy. Yep.
So, is it still too early for
that's in Bennett sitting right there.
Ventrell Miller. Right.
Michael Bell's still there. Demas is still there.
If Stoner wants to go Aubrey Miller.
The Utah linebacker, I take the Utah linebacker, Diaby, however you say that last name.
Yabate.
6'4", a senior.
Go get Aubrey Miller from Jackson State. It's because the HBC you got in there.
One of Prom's boys.
Yeah, go get one of Prom's boys. Right there.
I don't have a problem with that. at all.
He grades out higher, and 6'2", both seniors.
Both, dog, bring him, dog.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Aubrey Miller. I was so happy when Ryan mentioned him because I was just like, that's a name that I've been watching for a little bit as I've been doing.
Idea in the room. Are we as a unit? Are we cool with Joey Sly, or do we think that we need a new kicker in here?
I'm okay with Joey Sly.
I'm cool with Joey right now.
I'm fine. He's not terrible.
I'm not, but majority wins.
Rio's stamp is take a kicker in the final.
Dude,
I would never draft a kicker.
I take Chad Ryland or Jake Moody at the end of every mock draft.
Oh,
we traded up for a long snapper 2 years ago. Not only did we take one, we traded next year's fifth to get, like last year we had 0 fifth-round picks before we traded back with Carolina to get 2 of them because we traded up for a long snapper. So that puts kicker in conversation.
Go get Jake Moody right now. I like Jake Moody.
No.
Yes.
I'm putting my foot down. We're not drafting a stupid kicker.
I'm
All
off.
right, guys. This is where you guys get them on the QB.
Yeah, good. There's nobody.
Hey, Max.
Honestly, all these quarterbacks, they're going to be here when this 7th round ends so we could give them a call and say, hey, Bill Utfa, come on down and come be new Jake Fromm.
That's the same with the kickers.
No.
Possibly.
They're going to be out there, and you just sign them to a free agent deal, undrafted free agent.
True.
All right, so who are we drafting right now then?
I want a kicker.
Yeah, me too. Go get Jake Moody right now.
Do it for me, man. He does it in the weight room. He doesn't do it on the field for me, man. I need a kicker.
He definitely does it in the weight room.
Yeah,
he don't miss a curl.
Go to ST, Nathan. I think that's where kickers.
I mean, I think I just have to put in the name there, but
there it is. Jake Moody, let's get him.
That's what we're going. Oh, punter! If we didn't have already a legendary OU punter,
is he
Michael Turk
is former Redskins punter?
I believe the nephew.
Yeah,
that has to be. They just have a kicking family, so that has to be the case.
All right, they also have a fumble.
Yeah! With the last pick there to not belabor it.
EB, baby. EB.
Give me my kicker, baby.
We need points.
We need Joey Sly needs competition, man.
They're going to come down to a field goal kick.
We're not missing extra points this year, guys.
Thank you.
Next time, Gus Bus, I'll look at that Clayton tune.
No wonder we don't do well in drafts. You guys didn't even let me get my voice in there for that last one.
You were at home.
The Commanders are always doing bad.
It was at home. It was the 7th round.
The alienated stoner out of the last.
Look at this grades.
We let him get his one.
Jake Moody.
Isaiah McGuire.
B plus.
Honestly, I don't want the media to come away and give us an A+ draft because I've seen that before, and the draft class ended up being awful. So you know, I'm cool with that. I don't want them to agree with what we did here. We got better as a unit, guys.
Exactly. Yeah, we did. Amen.
Now, here's the first thing we do.
What up?
The first thing we do is we're gonna go out and find us a left tackle. Okay, and we're gonna unfortunately we're gonna let somebody go. We're gonna save ourselves $8 million.
Can't body quarterback.
And we're gonna go find somebody who is either going to be a cut or we're gonna trade for somebody. We've got to do something at left tackle.
Did you say we're gonna let go of our starting left tackle right now?
Yes.
No, Ron loves our left tackle. He's not going anywhere, guys.
Yeah, I know.
$8 million you can save by cutting him.
Yeah. Trust me. Listen. If it was up to me, Logan Thomas, Chase Rouillet, and Charles Leno could all get the snip, and I love them. Best of luck on your next endeavor. But we're moving on. But Ron is loyal to a fault with guys, and he rarely likes to move on from guys that he feels like are part of the fabric of the organization.
Yeah.
They hate him.
Gregory Pett is mad at us because
Gus Bus said we did nothing for our O-line. Way to get Howell injured.
We did guard, didn't we?
You took Chandler Savala at 97.
And we addressed in a free agency too. We went and got a couple of guys, so we still got some guys.
We got a starting left guard in Chandler Zavala.
We can't bring everybody brand new for Sam Howell. He got to have some kind of continuity somewhere.
I think people think that we could play 10 linemen at a time.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. It's the new NFL.
Hey, you got to protect the quarterback, Rio. Okay, so it's 10 linemen and 1 QB. It'll work. It'll work. I don't know if I would have given you guys a B plus, but I mean there was definitely some quality picks in there.
Hold on,
I found.
Did Nathan just say I don't know if I'll give you guys a B plus?
Yeah,
you were hitting the button a little quick on some of those, so that's part
there's
of your
one
draft,
I hit quick, and by the way, that one was an A plus.
What are your bold takes of this class?
I don't like Banks at 16, and I don't like Sam Laporta at 47 either. I mean,
I think Sam Laporta was the worst value of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's that's right around where he's going to go, if not even before 47. If you're not going to take Kincaid or Mayer, Darnell Washington is okay as well. He's pretty exciting, because the guy is just can move like a whole truck by himself. But you can get at 97. I think that you can get yourself a good tight end. Tight ends just take so long to develop. And that was the thing, we brought up Armani Rogers with Ryan Fowler. He's a developmental project. So just go with him. I'm not excited about our tight end room. I've called Logan Thomas decidedly mediocre for 2 years now. And you're right. Cole Turner didn't really do much for us last year.
He's the hope. We got to bank on the hope of Cole Turner. If this tight end room is going to be good, he's going to be a lead dog.
Yeah. And that's what we have to
because as Stoner likes to point out, Bates is just really an offensive tackle in a tight end uniform. So hey, Gus Bus, thank you for the donation there. Make sure $10 getting that in there with the Sky Bar super chat. Again, if we get to $50, you can get yourself free appetizer at Sky Bar in Lexington, Virginia. Thank you again for that. Being the voice of reason. Yeah, I don't like either of those top 2 picks. I think Zavala was good. McGuire, I'm telling you guys, I love edge rushers. I would have taken at 47. I would have taken Felix.
Who would you have taken over Banks in the first round? One of the tackles.
So that's the thing is the Darnell Wright maybe is a strong option there. He was available, and that's probably where I would have gone is getting there. Wiley has that position. Well, the thing is Wiley has position flex too. He plays guard. You can move him over to left guard and start Darnell Wright at right tackle. So or you, like I said, Stoner, you can get rid of Leno for some money. I agree with Rio. It's not going to happen, but
it seems like they brought Wiley. They gave Wiley a 3-year deal, $8 million a year. It feels like they expect him to be the bookend at right tackle, and they brought him here to solidify that role. And Darnell Wright doesn't really seem like a left tackle to me.
Yeah,
Anton Harrison.
I will say this about
Anton Harrison. If you trade back into the mid-20s, Anton Harrison, I think is an excellent pick there. But if you're picking at 16. Darnell Wright's the better choice over Anton Harrison, I think.
I don't think there's anybody here or anybody watching or listening that would be mad if Washington traded back in that first round. Got an extra pick wherever, 3rd round maybe, and still got that Anton Harrison. Maybe Banks is still available. Who knows? Maybe Bijan's available and they trade back or whatever. I don't think he would be. But I think that's what everybody really wants, because there's nobody at 16 that we're all sitting there saying, we got to get this guy.
Yeah, even unless Christian Gonzalez is there. There's no one who you're just.
But even last year at 11, before we trade back, we were all sitting there saying Olave or Hamilton, or I think Garrett Wilson was drafted already. But, we were sitting there saying, we got to get this guy. We got to get this guy.
I don't want to trade back in.
And so it was a surprise. But
I think it depends how the board. It depends how the board looks too, because there could the draft could go really crazy, and Paris Johnson Jr., Broderick Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon are sitting there, and then you got to take them at 16.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So who do
there's
Christian Gonzalez
surprises every draft year? There's always surprises. The board never plays out the way that it does in all of your mock drafts and all of the smart people's mock drafts. It never plays out that way.
Somebody put a gas mask on and take a video, man. Come on down that board.
Right. And then coming down.
That'd be great.
But those guys, the way that ours played out that way, I think we all would have been happy to trade back. Right? There wasn't like we got to take Deontay Banks. Nobody was saying that. We're saying, well, if we're not trading back, then Banks is the guy to take here.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that.
Bold
It's
take
gonna
about,
be fun.
Bold take about our class. At the end of the year, the best back on the team is Keaton Mitchell.
Oh,
Wow.
that is a bold take. Hey, I'm the guy. I'm the guy that said Brian Robinson was a Jag this past year.
Yeah, he did.
Wasn't all that special. He did what he needed to do because they needed to run the ball.
I'm not mad at that take, and the problem with that take is I think Gibson's a Jag too, but people are gonna come from me like,
hey, is a big Jag, bro.
He's a Jag. He's a Jag, man.
Here's the thing: is pretty much any running back is going to be a Jag
nowadays.
Right? I mean, the position is so devalued outside of your Saquon Barkleys, your Christian McCaffreys, Bijan, potential of Bijan, right? You just had the Super Bowl winning champions have a 7th round rookie, running out there, outperforming a 1st rounder from 2 years ago. It's just how the position works these days.
You extend your quarterback who didn't even throw for 20 touchdowns, but you franchise tender Saquon Barkley, who you drafted number 2. Like how? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. He's a Jag. Saquon's a Jag. Yeah.
Saquon's a Jag?
If Saquon's a Jag, sign me up for that here. I'll take one of those.
Why would
that?
Huh?
I think it's a Jag.
Like, fam, I forgot what a 20-yard run looks like with our backfield.
It's been a hot minute.
To see more than 10 yards is like a blue moon for our backfield right now. Like, somebody's got to be able to break one on this team. And I'll give Brian Robinson the benefit of the doubt that it took him weeks to get his legs under him, but Gibson ran a 4.3, and we've only seen that speed on one play in his career that people keep running into the ground. It's that screen pass versus Buffalo that happened 19 years ago that people keep saying, what are you talking about? He's explosive. He did this 3 years ago.
He still had a more productive year than Brian Robinson. Obviously, less games for Brian Robinson, but I think Gibby is still exciting. I'm not going to extend him or pay him or anything like that. I'm just not. I'm we'll see what he does this year. Code Talker asking for us to use the Pro Football Network draft simulator. I brought it up, and we absolutely could. There's more ads on that one though, so
it could be a little frustrating on camera, but that's the one I use all the time.
I kind of wanted to bring up the Draft Network to see if they had one because we just had Ryan Fowler on. Be like, let's use theirs and see how that works. So.
Well, we're not the best team, but
we weren't the worst team in the league.
So we're either going to be the best or we're definitely not going to be the worst. I had to figure out how to crowbar that.
Our cornerback room got somebody that can actually run with receivers now. So we came away from day one with a player, man.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right.
That's what we're looking at. So Rio, we appreciate you jumping on here, getting a draft and giving us your take on the ownership situation. This is Rambling with Rio. Rio, where can our viewers find you? Most of them probably already know you, but just in case.
Okay. On Rio Robinson on YouTube, show's called Rambling with Rio, at Rio_Robinson91, like you see in my picture here. Rambling, talking everything Washington Commanders. Appreciate y'all for having me on, man.
Yes, sir.
Rio Guspa says he's now watching those Keaton highlights, and now
appreciate that, Rio. Let's go.
Hey, y'all gonna turn on Keaton Mitchell tonight, and y'all are gonna. My boy Jalen put me on to him, and he's different, man.
Yeah, I obviously being a Sooner guy, I watch a lot of Big 12 stuff, and there's a lot of Big 12 guys that I like, and I would be happy to see. So, but we appreciate you, Rio, jumping in. B+ draft from Rio and Stoner playing Marty and Marty with Trev jumping in as EB, unable to pull the Snyder card and get them to take DTR there late in the 5th round.
Well, it's okay. Like Rio said, we'll give him a call and he could be an UFTA or UFTA. Come in for some passes at camp.
We'll see how all that works out. We had Ryan Fowler on from the Draft Network earlier. Great to have him on. Good insight. Good overall. Was pretty insightful as far as what was going on and where we should go. A little higher on some guys than I was, but he's the one who watches all the tape. So we'll see how those draft evaluations go. One more week to the draft.
I love it. Oh, we're doing it, and don't forget, we have a live draft first round.
Yep, we will be live for the first round of the draft, seeing where Washington moves up, stays pat, or moves back. Hopefully they make us all happy and we get some good excitement. Unfortunately, Washington Commanders did not host another draft party for the first round of the draft. We were pretty excited to go out there and do that one, but we will be doing a live show. Stoner raised his finger, so we're going to give him some time.
Just real quick, while we got everybody still in here, make sure y'all hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. But definitely hit that like button before we head out.
Yeah, you can catch us again next week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at 7:30 Eastern. And then we're out there on your favorite audio platforms as well. Until next time, though.
When I watched it.
Be a fan.